All right, what is up, everybody? How is everybody doing tonight? Adjust this for a minute. There we go. If you can hear me okay, please put a 1 in the chat. For anybody that is new to the channel, welcome. I am Chris with Monsters Under Our Bed. We cover murder, mystery to the missing. Today we're going to be diving deeper into the Delphi case. This is a case that we've covered many times on this channel. And Monday, today's Wednesday. Monday, I kind of broke down some of the witness statements, and I went even further with this show and discovered some things that were very interesting. If you were here on Monday, you probably understand what I'm talking about. If not, we will recap what I covered Monday and much more today. So I'm super excited. I will do, because I noticed in some of the comments, because we started out talking about the transcript, because that came out like 10 minutes before I went live. So we jumped right into that. And anyway, there's some people that, most of you in here are familiar with Delphi, but I think there might be some newcomers that are not familiar with Delphi. So I will just do a brief recap video. It's like 3 minutes to get everybody up to speed. So, but I'm super stoked because I do have at the end a theory, but it's based on all the evidence that we have. But like I said, we're going to be breaking down all the witness statements and super stoked. But before we get started, let me pull this up. Bring this over. There we go. So we always like to give back by featuring the missing at the beginning of all our shows. Today's missing is Aiden Clune. He went missing last year on April 27th near Wells, Nevada. For those that are new to the channel, not only do I cover true crime, but we do actually go out and try to help the missing and work cold cases. This is one that I've helped work on and tried to search for last year. Actually, this year, excuse me. And anyway, just a 19-year-old teenager who he went missing last year on April 27th, Aiden Clune. He just pulled over on the side of the freeway and was last seen the day prior, but he had traveled from California to Utah, where I'm at. And then last minute, because he was going to stay with his grandparents here in Utah, and then last minute, because he has been suffering, or was suffering from some mental illness, and kind of panicked, and for some reason, last minute decided to go to Wells, Nevada, and then just pulled his truck over on the side of the highway, and then Search and Rescue had found his footprints and tracked him for, I believe, about 10 miles, but lost his tracks and unfortunately has not been seen since. But there are theories that he did make it out alive and that he was just kind of on the run, even though he's not wanted for anything. He was just had some tough time before he went missing. Anyway, long story short, there was a possible sighting here. So I know I got some fellow Utahns in the chat. There was a picture, and I'm not sure all the details, but we will do a video or a show on him. I got to turn down my fan. Hold on. Anyway, that's my little personal heater. Anyway, there was possible video taken recently, and it looks like Aiden, but they don't know who this boy is. And anyway, so we're trying to get that out. If you want more info, you can look up his flyer, or you can take the screenshot of this QR code here and get more details. So if you have any information, you call 408-647-7046. There's a $5,000 reward. And we will now move on to the show. All right. So as I said earlier, just for those that may not be familiar with Delphi, I will just play this quick 3-minute video just to kind of get everybody up to speed, and then we will go from there, and that way I can get caught up in chat here as well. But yeah, it's exciting. I see Olivia says, oh, well, include, yes. For those that know that I've been covering that case and actually went out looking for him, There is a theory that he was just on the run. Like I say, he doesn't have a warrant, but yeah, there was a sighting of a kid that looked similar here in Utah. And so, if you want more information, like I said, you can scan that QR code and learn more. All right, so moving on to Delphi. I'm just going to play this quick 3-minute video to get everybody up to speed here.
Directly to the killer, who may be in this room. We believe you are hiding in plain sight. For more than 2 years, you never thought we would shift gears to a different investigative strategy, but we have. We likely have interviewed you, or someone close to you. We know that this is about power to you, and you want to know what we know. And one day, you will. 2 children, only a coward would do such a thing. I'm confident that there'll be a successful conclusion for Abby and Libby.
Welcome back to the channel, everybody, where we cover murder, mystery to the missing. Back on February of 2017, 2 teenage girls, Abby Williams and Liberty German, had made last-minute plans to go to the Monon High Bridge, which was supposed to be a teenage hangout with a historic trail and a really high old abandoned bridge. The 2 girls, who were best friends, just had a sleepover the night before and were excited when Libby's sister, Kelsey German, said she would drop them off as long as the 2 girls found a ride home, which they did. Although it was February, the temperature was nice for that day, and even though it was a Monday, they had school off that day. The 2 girls, Abby and Libby, would be dropped off just before 2 p.m., where they planned on only staying for a couple of hours. The 2 teens, Abby and Libby, would begin walking the 501 trail to the Monon High Bridge. As the 2 would approach the bridge, Libby, who had her iPhone, would take 2 pictures, one as they passed the first platform, and another which shows Abby looking down as she is crossing the scary, tall, gap-filled railroad tie. The girls didn't know it yet, but they were not alone. As a few hours would go by, the father of Libby, Derek German, would show up, but the 2 girls were not at the meetup spot. Thinking that the 2 teens just lost track of time, he would end up calling Libby's phone. The phone was ringing, but no one was answering. He would begin searching for the 2 teens, but when running into other people, no one had seen them. Eventually, the authorities would be called out, and this would lead to a search party looking for the 2 girls. But sadly, there was no sign of them on that first night of the 13th. With the search being called off late that night for safety reasons, it would be resumed early that next day. They brought in helicopters, divers, and many other resources to scour the area. But just around noon that day, they would soon discover a grisly scene. Authorities would discover the 2 girls across the river, and both had sadly been murdered.
Investigators solemnly identified the 2 bodies found in Carroll County as 13-year-olds Libby German and Abby Williams.
We would soon get multiple press conferences.
Okay, so there is just anybody that's not familiar with Delphi. That is just kind of basic backstory. Obviously, we would get some a 1-second clip of the man believed to be the suspect, which I'll just show real quick, and then we'll dive into the show. But that would be released along with the first sketch and then another sketch. And then fast forward 5 years. It was a 5-year, not really a cold case because they were still working on it, but it was 5 years unsolved. And then would be the arrest of Richard. Oh, I don't know why he keeps going over there. Come back this way. There would be the arrest of Richard Allen. He is local to Delphi. He used to live, because they did sell their home, but he used to live literally 5-6 minutes from the Monon High Bridge. And he has been awaiting trial ever since. Of course, there's been a lot of commotion going on since then with the defense team. They got basically, they were on their terms, they were forced out, ambushed, in their words. And now they have been, Richard Allen has now been appointed new attorneys. I forget their names off the top of my head. Labrado, and I forget the other guy, but anywho. So, like I said, today's main focus is breaking down the witness statements. I started on Monday, and I went even deeper because I do have a theory at the end of this that I'm excited to share. So let's break it down. And just checking chat here. Everything's good. All right. So on Monday, we kind of broke down the witnesses who saw vehicles, because today's the main part of today's show is one witness in particular, but we're going to break them all down. And like I said, we'll share the theory here in a bit. But I'm just reading in chat. Yeah, I was going to wait till the end, but yeah, I don't know. So yeah, up to date speeds. Judge Gull has, I don't know if she was hospitalized or what, but she did have a medical emergency. Some thought that was kind of interesting timing after they released the transcripts and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. We'll take a look at Twitter at the end. Maybe there might be an update on her end. I hope she's doing well. I mean, don't wish any ill will towards her. Honestly, in my opinion, I wish Rosie, as far as the original defense, would just stay on and they just hire a new co-counsel. But that's just my opinion on that. And but anyway, back to the witness statements. So when we read the probable cause, which came out after the arrest of Richard Allen, we kind of learned that there was obviously multiple witnesses out there. There were four juveniles. They talk about 3 juveniles, but there is 4 juveniles. And then there was also some other witnesses that also saw a vehicle parked at the CPS building. And if anybody doesn't know what that is, so let me just... let me go back in time so we're at the same. So, and let me move that over just a little bit here. Boom. All right. So, obviously, the girls were walking on this trail here, and then they were sadly ambushed by a suspect here. But before that, all happened. This is what was known as the old CPS building, and apparently the suspect, they believe, parked at this building here. And then, as you can see, you can walk and approach what's called the Freedom Bridge here, and then from here, this would be, I'm assuming, what you would call the trailhead. And this trail follows, and then it actually splits right here into 2 trails, one that leads to the bridge and then one that kind of leads to a dead end back in here. So anyway, so that's where the old CPS building is. And so in the time frame of vehicles that the witnesses saw, we're going to break these all down. And I know I went over this Monday, so I'll kind of go through this quick and then bring up the new stuff. But our first witness, was a male. His name was Terry. He saw a vehicle parked there at 210. He's the one that describes the purple PT Cruiser or small SUV. And if you read it closely, he says he observed a purple PT Cruiser or small SUV type vehicle. So technically, he didn't really say there was a PT Cruiser. It just looked like something like a PT Cruiser or a small SUV. So Really wasn't even a PT Cruiser he saw. He's just trying to give the best description of the vehicle shape. He also notes that it was backed in. Then we move on to the next one, which is the second Mel, which was Wesley. At 2:28, he also sees another car, a similar car, which is, and he's quoted as saying he remembered seeing a smaller dark-colored car parked at the CPS building. He described it possibly being a smart car. So once again, just like the PT Cruiser, he doesn't actually say it's a smart car. He just says it could possibly be a smart car. So they both are not giving an exact description of the actual model and make, but what it closely resembles. And then he also says that it was parked oddly. Then we have the anomaly. And like I said, this is going to be the big part of today's show. And I'll get to chat here in a second. In between those two time frames, we have one of our female witnesses, which is Betsy, BB. In between those times, at 2:15, she claims, now in the original probable cause affidavit, they don't mention what she sees. They just say that she sees a car backed in the same way as the first Mel, but they don't mention the Ford Comet. But she claims, obviously, in coming from the Frank's motion, we learned that she claimed to see a 1965 Ford Comet, which obviously Ford didn't make the Comet. It was the Mercury, but obviously Ford and Mercury, the same thing, probably have Ford parts. What's interesting to note is she claims that her father once owned one of those, and she's quite confident in its description. She actually has a sketch of the vehicle that's in evidence in the discovery. She not only drew a diagram of where it's at, but she actually drew apparently the what she saw. But obviously that's an anomaly compared to what the other two witnesses saw, and especially the timing. And so this is what's kind of weird. So either they all saw three different vehicles, and this happened. So, and this would have happened in what, 20 minutes or less than 20 minutes. So this is basically kind of what they're seeing. And they're all heading westbound, west-northbound, because now the street actually curves into going north and south. So that would have been the first witness, the PT Cruiser, and that would have been the first Mel, Terry. Then we have our second witness, the anomaly, where we have Betsy, who's now leaving, and she sees this Ford Comet at 2:26. And I had that a bright color because if you look at the colors of those cars back in the day, they used, fancy bright colors. But then at 2:28, you would have the third witness, the second Mel, who would see, something that looked like a smart car. So, is it possible that there was three cars that literally backed up into the same spot within 20 minutes of each other and left minutes of arriving? I mean, you could say maybe the first vehicle was there for, I just put 2:08 as the beginning, but he would have to leave by 2:13 for this Ford Comet or Mercury Comet to arrive. Or is it possible that Betsy, could have been mistaken? And we'll get more into that here in just a minute. So I thought I'd show that little detail because I thought it would just be strange for all these different vehicles to be pulling into the same spot, and they're all noted as kind of like suspiciously parked. And so I don't think, in my personal opinion, that happened. And I think that the consensus is it's one vehicle was there, and maybe somebody just got the details wrong. But we'll go deeper into that in a minute. Tom N. Hello, Chris and Mom Crew. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Thanks for getting all your hard work and energy to True Crime YouTube community. Thank you so much, Tom. And thank you so much for the $10 and the support. It means the world. I spend hours and hours on these diagrams. And for those that are here on Monday, I promise I will get through this. I've got so much more. I really broke this down. So, and then also I just wanted to say, Jennifer, our moderator, who's usually here working hard, she is undergoing surgery right now. So please, if you could, share your well wishes in the chat. She's an amazing person, and I hope she has a safe and fast, speedy recovery with her surgery. And that's got to be such a bummer to have surgery just before the holidays. So anyway, I'm going to kind of rush through this for those that were here on Monday and get to the new stuff. But what's also interesting is, now I wanted to go through this again because I did have one small minute detail wrong last time. Is I thought it was the second male witness. I accidentally mixed up their names. So it was actually Terry and Betsy, which is the 210 and 215. They both drew diagrams and in the statement where they saw the vehicle parked, and they generally matched, as whereas the vehicle was parked and in the manner it was parked. So I thought that was very interesting that even though these two cars are much different from each other, they both claim to have seen this car parked and in the manner in the same way. But obviously there's a huge difference between a smart car or, a smaller SUV compared to this Mercury Comet. So I thought it was interesting that all the details pretty much line up. If you look at all of them, except for obviously the anomaly, which is the Ford Comet. And I thought it was interesting, and just one of the theories I had that I shared on Monday is that she used the word Ford, and could have been that she did see a Ford, and the reason why she called it a Ford Comet is because she saw the Ford logo, but possibly saw like a Ford Comet, or excuse me, a Mercury Comet driving by either during that time or prior to that, and that stuck out to her head because that was a car that her father owned, and she just kind of mixed the two memories together, the two details, and it wasn't really the Comet that was parked there. She just happened to see a Comet driving by and just kind of got those mixed up. Just a possible theory that we shared, but I'm going to go into more detail about that because I even have a deeper theory on this. So the other thing that we shared that was I found very interesting was I took note of all the people that arrived and left. And of course the people here that were here on Monday know what I'm going to talk about. So we'll quickly go over it. But I drew each example of what person, what time they arrived or were leaving, which direction they were heading or leaving, and then obviously notes were they arriving or leaving. And I noticed that when it came to the witnesses, they never mentioned when they were arriving that they had seen the car at the CPS building. It's only when they're leaving, such as Betsy at 2:14, when she's leaving, she mentioned seeing a Ford Comet. Same with Terry when he was driving to Delphi. So he was just driving to Delphi and going westbound. He saw what looked to be like a purple or SUV type car. And then same with
male number 2, Wesley, he also, when he was heading westbound, is when he saw the dark smart car. And with Sarah, the fourth, one of the female witnesses, when she was passing by, she never mentioned seeing a vehicle at the CPS building or the abandoned CPS building, which tells me that clearly this car was parked in a way that if you were coming southbound, it was clearly obscured by either trees, foliage, whatnot. It was backed in such a way that clearly coming southbound, you were not able to see it. Only when you were coming northbound, westbound, northbound, were you able to actually see the vehicle. So I thought that was kind of interesting. That was something I discovered on Monday. Then we move on to all the witness statements and just kind of bringing them together, because this is when we all kind of, when a lot of the witnesses meet together with the supposed suspect or Richard Allen, wherever you sit. But these, there was actually 4 witnesses. They mentioned 3, but there was 4. One had a younger sister with her. And they were leaving. They got to the bridge. They took a picture of the bridge at 1243, the Monon High Bridge. And then they started walking back. And at 126 is when they got here at the little circle here at the beginning of Freedom Bridge here. And the 4 girls were here for a bit. At that same exact time, just as she took that picture, Allen's vehicle would have been seen on the camera heading westbound at 127. He would have parked, as he claimed, at the CPS building. And as we move on, around that same time, Betsy Blair, who had just come up under this bridge, had actually witnessed just shortly later at 146 the 4 girls walking across the bridge. And so if you kind of put that all together, along with Richard Allen's statement, because Richard Allen also claims when he arrived there, now this is his original statement, he claims at the Freedom Bridge he saw 3 females. And so this would have took place at about approximately 140, give or take. And I thought that was interesting because if you take and put those all together, you have 3. Actually, I should have added one more. You would, but she was never in the original probable cause or the new one. But, well, they do mention her a little bit in the new one, but not much. But there had been actually 4 juveniles, plus Betsy Blair, and also including Richard Allen's statement, you would actually have 6 people accounting for one interaction at this location here, or shortly thereafter. So I thought that was kind of interesting. If you put all those statements together, they all line up with each other. That's a lot of different witnesses' statements to corroborate each other's story. So moving on, here is a diagram of where Richard Allen's home is at. He lived, now they sold their home, but he lived at 1967 Whiteman Drive. And obviously the fastest route and the most likely route, if you were just going to leave home and go there, 6 minutes, or you would have took south at this street here and you would get on the Hoosier Highway. It's more miles, but you would get there at the same time because obviously you're taking the highway. And you would arrive there at about the same time, 6 minutes here. The next fastest way, or the only next way that you could come, if you were going to come from the other way, would be you would take this street here, and you would come up and around the back end, and that would take approximately 10 minutes because if you recall, his car is seen heading westbound at 127 on the Hoosier Harp Store camera. Now, in the original statement, that's where he claims he was arriving to the trailhead so he could go and walk the trail and check his stock ticker and whatnot. And so the argument now from the Frank's motion is the defense says that now Richard Allen states that he was there from noon to 1:30. And so the only issue I would have with that is if you were parked at the CPS building here, and remember the camera is set here, if you were leaving at 1:30 and you witnessed the girls like you said in the original statement, how are you caught on the camera going westbound at 127? If you were leaving and say you went eastbound, you would be caught on the camera going eastbound, but that is not talked about. He's only caught going one direction westbound at 127. So to me, that wouldn't make a lot of sense. And all right, so yeah, we talked about that. So now let's just take in theory. I'm going to look at a different angle for those that do think that Richard Allen could be innocent. It's possible that the only way I think this could work for Allen's side of things is if Allen parked instead of at the CPS building, but yet parked at the Mears parking lot, and he was there from noon, and he says, and he's quoted as saying, where is it in his new quote, from noon and left around 1:30. So for him to still make that plausible and be seen at 127, he would actually then have to be parked at the Mears parking lot and then leave at 127 and be seen on the camera heading westbound. And then technically the girls would have been at that time, because at 126 they are taken, and this is a bad picture, I got a better picture, but at 126 the girls are standing at that circle at the beginning of Freedom Bridge, and he would have been possibly been able to see him. So there would be an argument that noon to 1:30, but there is an issue with that. So we'll kind of break that down. But I did want to try to at least look at it from the other angle, but it doesn't make sense, and we're going to kind of break that down. Alan says, I don't believe noon to 1:30 a bit. Yeah, it doesn't work in many different ways, and I'm going to break it down right here as to the biggest issues with the noon to 1:30. And there's more, and I wish I had more time because there's a ton of them. So one of the issues about him leaving at 1:30, along with, like I said, he's caught going westbound, it would make sense if he was going eastbound. If Allen was leaving at 127 and heading westbound, how would he be able to see the three juvenile girls at that distance and with that obstruction with trees? So here, if we zoom in, and this is taken at 4/2017, so this is just 2 months. This this is what it would have looked like at that time. And obviously the car wouldn't be this big. It would be like a quarter of that size. But if he was heading this way, I mean, look at the obstruction. And obviously this is probably maybe a half of a football field distance approximately. I would say at least 60 yards, if not more. And yet he would be able to see 3 juvenile girls while he's now trying to go around the bend. In my personal opinion, I don't think that's plausible. But not only that, but in his original statement, while at the Freedom Bridge, remember he's saying he's at the Freedom Bridge walking, but in his original statement, not only does he say he sees 3 females, but he noted that one was taller and had brown or black hair. So not only was he able to account for how many witnesses there were, but he was even able to give at least some kind of description of one of them, if not 2 of them, because he said one was taller than another one. To me, I think that's borderline impossible, although I've never been at that bend at that time of year. But to me, just looking from top view, I just don't think that's possible, because that's quite a bit of ways away. I really wish Google Earth or Google Man would have driven down the street so we could kind of see the view from that street and see. But I'm assuming that's quite a distance away. And you have this obstruction with trees and everything. And to me, I think it would be nearly impossible. So let me check chat. Now, I've got some more stuff. I got so much more. But I just wanted to get up to date from where I was on Monday here. Hamstring says, Klein having contact with the girls gives me reasonable doubt they have right guy, in my honest opinion. So here's my theory on that. I definitely think there's possibility that there could be a second party involved. Now, I do think Richard Allen, in my opinion, is the suspect. But I wouldn't be surprised if there was, and obviously the prosecution has mentioned that there could be another actor involved, which is kind of a funny word to use. But what I think is that somebody did contact Abby and Libby, or actually Libby, excuse me, because we know that she was using yellow and what was the other name for that? Something Yubo? Was it Yubo? I think yellow and Yubo were kind of like the same thing. So it was kind of like a dating app for teens that she was supposedly using. And so I think it's totally possible that she was, because they did kind of leave last minute to go to the Monon Bridge. And so I think they were there, or probably catfished or something like that, or possibly catfished. And maybe Klein was the guy they thought it was, but maybe it was somebody else. So they were on the right track, but it wasn't actually Klein. But that's just my opinion, obviously. But anyway, now we're going to start breaking down the new stuff that I'm really excited. All right. So here's the original probable cause, right? I'm going to read just a little bit of it. It was from the DNR Lieutenant Dan Dolan. Now, he's the one that originally interviewed Richard Allen. He was the conservation officer. I always want to say conversation. The conservation officer at that time. Now it sounds like he's a lieutenant. He is the one that interviewed Richard Allen back in 2017. Allen stated he was there from 1:30 to 3:30. His own words. He said he parked at the Farm Bureau building and then walked to the new Freedom Bridge. Now, of course, we know that he probably meant the CPS building. Well, at the Freedom Bridge, he saw 3 females. He noted one was taller, one had brown or black hair. He did not remember the description, nor did he speak with them, which corroborates with their statements that when they tried to talk to the guy, suspicious man walking past him, he didn't say anything. He walked from the Freedom Bridge to the High Bridge. He did not see anybody. Although he stated he was watching a stock ticker on his phone as he walked. He stated there were vehicles parked at the High Bridge trailhead. However, he did not pay attention to them. He didn't take any photos or video. His cell phone, Okay, so that was taken at 2017, right? Then we have the Frank's motion, which, boy, I wish I had more time. I'm going to be breaking this down even more because this is just full of concerns to me. So, in the Frank's motion, they start going after Liggett and others, and obviously this is what the defense is supposed to do. I mean, you can't blame them. They have to have a defense. They need a theory, and the Odenism, I think, is probably the best bet. So you can't blame them for doing their job. But here's what they say. For starters, as noted earlier, in his interview with Liggett and Monon, so this is a separate interview from Dan Doolin, because now this is the interview, I'm assuming, after they just arrested Richard Allen, So this is in 2022. Now, Richard Allen stated he arrived at the trails at noon and left at 1:30. And now the defense says, well, Liggett failed to inform Judge Diner that Richard Allen stated he left the trails at 1:30. Well, that's an issue because, well, one, Judge Diner is the one that was the original judge, but remember, he was kind of swamped and decided to recuse himself because he was overwhelmed and he felt like he wasn't the right judge to be fit for this kind of case. So Judge Gold was brought in. But they go on to say he should have, especially if there were evidence that a different vehicle was parked at the old CPS building after 1:30, but before 4 p.m. But they basically claim that Liggett lied to Judge Diner. But this is my issue. Richard Allen was interviewed by Detectives Liggett and Monon, where he now claims he was there from noon and left around 1:30. In the Frank's motion, they call Liggett a liar. But wouldn't it be Richard Allen who is the one that is the liar, since he's the one that changed the time frame, not Liggett? Am I missing something here? Because if he originally stated he was there from 1:30 to 3:30, and that's what the probable cause is based on, but now when they do an interview the time after he's arrested, now Richard Allen states he's there from noon to 1:30, but yet he states what he had in the original. I mean, is he the liar or is it Richard Allen? I mean, just my opinion on that, but just thought it was kind of interesting. And then, just to kind of double down on this Frank's motion, so the same, the next paragraph, actually no, this is the same one, but we're going to dive a little bit into it a little bit more. Is this the same one or is this, let me see, is this, okay, it is, but I just got more of it. So in the Frank's motion, just to go a little bit deeper, for starters, so we talked about that Allen stated from noon to 1:30. Liggett failed to inform Judge Diner, and Richard Allen stated he had left the trails at 1:30. He should have, especially if there were evidence that a different vehicle was parked at the old CPS lot after 1:30 p.m., but before 4 p.m., which would then support Richard Allen's statement that he, Richard Allen, left the CPS building around 1:30. So the next question to ask is, did anyone see a vehicle parked at the old CPS building between 1:30 and 4 p.m. that did not resemble Richard Allen's black Ford Focus, thus supporting Richard Allen's timeline that he provided to Liggett? And then
but which Liggett concealed from Judge Steiner? The answer is yes, Betsy Blair. But there's an issue with this whole statement here. So it says, evidence that a different vehicle was parked at the old CPS lot building after 1:30 that didn't resemble Richard Allen's. Well, let's look back at the witnesses. After 1:30, we have our Mel witness Terry. He witnesses at 2:10, that's after 1:30, what looks to be, not a PT Cruiser, but just what looks to be like a PT Cruiser or a small SUV at 2:10 that's backed in suspiciously. Now, he doubles down with Betsy claiming the Ford Comet. But then we have male number 2, Wesley, at 2:28 p.m. also claims that they see a dark, smaller car that could possibly be a smart car, also parked oddly at the CPS building. So, my issue is the way they've written this does not make sense, because yes, although there's one witness that describes a different vehicle from Richard Allen's, which is the Ford Mercury Comet, but there's 2 other witnesses after 1:30 that do describe that there's another car. So, I mean, what do you guys think? Am I missing something in there? Am I looking too deep into that? But there's clearly 2 other witnesses that are claiming, yet it's like they don't exist now. And I want to be honest, I think Betsy Blair is going to be clearly the defense's, that's going to be their favorite witness, because obviously she's seen a lot of different things than compared to the other witnesses. Dib. I live very close to this place, Delphi. Oh, right on. If I get any details wrong or anything you want to share, please let me know. It's really I'm honored to have anybody. I really appreciate everybody taking the time to be here, but it's really cool to have locals spending the time with us. But yeah, that's just my argument with that, with the Frakes motion. And you kind of start looking at some of the statements like this. They nitpick stuff, but yet they're really leaving out other details, such as these other witnesses that do describe cars that look like a black Ford Focus. More importantly, the 2016 Ford Focus. As you can see here, this is an actual picture of Allen's Ford Focus in his parking lot. That's his black Ford F-150 truck. But if you look at that from, a certain perspective, especially back more, that certainly looks like a PT Cruiser. I don't know much is a smart car, but from looking at back like that, that makes it look like a PT Cruiser, in my opinion. Anyway, so no, this is what, and no, we don't want to attack the, but yes, that's a great question, Alan. How old is Betsy? Does she wear glasses? That is a great question. And that is going to be the main focus of today's show, and we'll kind of get to that. So moving on. So here is now a full breakdown of every witness and what they stated they saw the suspect wearing. Now, I'm not going to read everything, but we will all kind of go into detail, and I'll show you, because there's some commonalities when it comes to this. So we have Betsy, our one of our main witnesses. She's described seeing a guy with blue jeans and a blue jean jacket. So we got 2 X's here. We got Anna, which is one of the juvenile witnesses. She claims to see a light blue, a blue jacket and a light blue faded blue jeans.
and duck canvas type jacket. So she also sees the same thing as Betsy Blair. Then we have kind of anomaly here. We have Raleigh. She describes black hoodie, black jeans, black boots. So kind of an anomaly. It could maybe the clouds was kind of cloudy maybe that day, and or just maybe the angle that the clothing looked darker than normal, so she thought it was black. Who knows? But she's kind of the anomaly. I mean, black and blue, depending on the blue, you could see how it could be mistaken. Then you have Bree, the other juvenile witness. She describes, which is interesting, she describes blue or black windbreaker jacket, and also describes wearing baggy jeans, which she doesn't describe the color, but I mean, when you say think of jeans, most jeans are blue, right? So what I thought was very interesting is she says blue or black. But there's a theory that the suspect had the blue Carhartt jacket, but underneath was a black hoodie. So I wonder if she kind of combined those, because she did actually see blue and black, because she even describes that she saw his hood from underneath the jacket coming up over his clothing. So I think the reason why she says blue or black is maybe because she actually saw blue and black. It's definitely plausible. Margaret Ann Ray, I guess it must be difficult to be precise about the exact make or model of a vehicle you are driving. Obviously, someone drew the attention of the witnesses as they all noticed a car parked. Right. Especially if it's suspiciously parked. And they all, 3 witnesses when it comes to that, did say the same thing. It was very suspiciously parked. Then we have another witness. We have Sarah, who is also the witness that came up with the first sketch. She stated that she saw blue jacket and blue jeans, and also muddy and bloody. But we'll get into that because I have a theory on that. So if you look at it, most of them describe the same thing, but you do have one witness that's, I wouldn't say off by much. I mean, blue and black, I mean, like I said, if it was kind of dark, the lighting, how close you were to, the suspect, you could see those aren't too big of a discrepancy. So, moving on, that witness that talks about, oh no, this is Richard Allen. So not only do you have all these witnesses, and you actually have more than this, but I just kind of went with these 5 here. But not only that, in the original statement by Allen, he claims he was wearing blue jeans and states, which is so odd, he states blue jeans and a blue or black Carhartt jacket. I think that's so interesting with the hood that day. Now, what I think he was probably meaning, which really lines up with Raleigh, where Bree, where she also says blue or black. And so I think he was really telling the truth, in my opinion. And he did have a blue or black, but he actually had blue and black because he had the blue Carhartt, and under it was the black hoodie. And so if you think about it, you got even more that all line up with blue jacket, blue jeans, and possibly a black hoodie underneath. Let me take a sip here. And Peggy says, I'd be a terrible witness. I couldn't identify a person or a car. Laugh out loud. I know you got to think, speaking with Steve from True Crime Web, witnesses, we're all human. We make mistakes. And, yeah, I mean, trying to be asked, what was the person? Describe the person when you were walking out of the grocery store last week. Describe that person, the last person you saw walking in the store as you were walking out. I mean, I would definitely have some difficulty. All right. Now, moving on to Sarah versus the PC affidavit versus Frank's motions, Sarah. So Sarah is the one that saw a suspect or a suspicious person. Sarah was driving eastbound on the 300 North Road here. She was caught on camera right here at 3:57 as she was heading eastbound. At some point, she saw a man on this side of the road where she describes in the probable cause affidavit, they say blue jeans and blue jacket, and also describes, she stated that he was wearing a blue colored jacket and blue jeans and was muddy and bloody. Further stated, it appeared that he had gotten into a fight. Then we've got the Frank's motion, Sarah, which now, excuse me, says, according to them, that Sarah did not observe a man wearing a blue jacket. She observed a tan jacket. This meant that Sarah and Betsy observed two different men. So they're really kind of pitting the two witnesses against each other. Who's more accurate, who's got the better description. Because obviously, if you think about it, and I think this is where they're going to go, depending whoever's on the defense team, I guarantee you this is going to be the big thing when it comes to the defense of the prosecution. It is going to be Sarah against Betsy in some regards. Because Sarah is the one that kind of came up with the sketch. But remember, this is kind of a combination of what Sarah saw and also the original video, why it looks so much similar to the original video. Whereas Betsy, she's the one that came up with the young guy sketch, which obviously doesn't really look like Richard Allen and is going to be better for the defense. So this is the question. What did the witness really see? Was there more than one interview with Sarah? That's what I wonder. Did she say that jacket appeared blue but also looked tan? And so the conundrum. What happens? So here's a question for the chat. What happens to a jacket that gets muddy? So I'll wait for a minute because there's like a time delay. But I'm really curious. What happens when a jacket gets muddy? No matter what the color is. Peyton, good to see you. Mob Crew, I'm not trying to be bossy. But did you see the messages for 11:23 a.m. tomorrow? That is the Mob Crew Thanksgiving. Share the love minute tomorrow. Just a thought. Ooh, I like that. No, I did not. 11:23 a.m. tomorrow. Not sure if I'm missing the context to that, Peyton, but I appreciate that. If you could let me know what you mean. I'm sorry if I did miss it. But I will, if you could give me a little more context on that. 11:23 a.m. tomorrow. I'm curious. If it's an email or something, I will look out for. I'm not sure the context on that. I'm sorry, Peyton.
Anyway, yes, brown and dried on. Oops. Exactly. So what happens to a jacket when it gets dirty and it's muddy? It looks tan or brown. And especially, obviously, this is wet. I had a tough time trying to find when the mud was actually dry, but it's brown, it's tan. What if she had actually described what she said, but then also mentioned that it kind of looked tan as well? Obviously, the defense is going to do what the defense is going to do, and they're going to probably try to. Oops. How did I pull that up? They may try to twist words or take some things out of context. But could it be possible that Sarah said, yeah, he was wearing a blue jeans, blue jacket, muddied and bloodied? I wasn't sure if he was muddy and bloodied. It looked, or, who knows, but, it looked kind of dark tan, jacket. And so just a theory on why they're saying that the jacket was tan. Let me know what you guys think. That's good thinking, Chris. Thank you. Because certainly, if you think about it, Alan is not very tall. The creek at the depths that they were saying is about 3.5 feet. So that would cover him well more than close to chest height. And then what you have just on the other side of the river is a very muddy bank that you would have to climb up for the most part. So first you would get in the river, you would be wet. And then once you're wet and then you come in contact with dirt and you've got to climb, I'm sure he was quite... obviously, this guy stuck out to her. And so it's clear that he probably got quite dirty in his jacket for sure, because at his height, he would have been more than halfway covered, and then would have had to climb up. And yeah, his jacket would have certainly been muddy. Exactly. Muddy can change the color a lot. Yeah, I mean, look at... I mean, she's got a pink, and then imagine when that dries. Yeah. We've got the blue. I tried to find, a Carhartt. I mean, most of them that I could find were wet. It was tough to find some, dried ones, but it's the best examples I could. And from a distance, brown color would stand out more. Exactly. So I think an original statement, and this is just theory, that she probably said all of those things, and then they just kind of took that out of context to me. The underhoodie looks tan to me. Yes, Tom. Yeah. Obviously, you've been with me a long time. I've theorized that as well. But now I've personally switched the other way. I think he's got a black hoodie on, and we're actually going to jump into that in a minute. But yes, that was my original theory too. And if it turns out to be, it won't surprise me. But one of the things that they took from Alan that we touched on, just one thing that we did touch on Monday, but this is going to build into something more. Thank you so much for the $2. And you know what? I missed something earlier, so let me grab this. I'm sorry. Don't forget to hit that like button, Chris. We love you. Thank you so much, Sensei. Wackadoodle. Really appreciate the support. It means the world to me. Thank you so much, Sensei. And then Hope 8 Fear gifted 1 Mob Crew membership earlier. Thank you so much for the support. And I'm always uploading at least once a week for my members. And another way to support me is Patreon. I always try to upload something once a week for them. But thank you. And Peyton, I was talking with some people in the chat. We decided 11:23 PTS time tomorrow. We should all think about each other because your chat group is awesome. I love that idea. Thank you, Peyton. I'm sorry. Now that it makes more sense, the original, I wasn't sure what you meant. That's awesome. Thank you, Peyton. Thank you for everything you've done. You are very sweet. Okay. So they took a black and green Fox hooded sweatshirt. Now, Fox has got a ton of designs. Especially with black and green, white. And then they also have some collaborations with Monster, which you see here. And there are many. I mean, I wish I had time to go and look at all of them. I don't even know if I could find all of them. But they have a ton. Hey, the captain's in here. Oh, I'm so glad you're in here, man. I hope you have some time. Appreciate it. I'm sure most of you know the captain. If you don't, if you're into Delphi, definitely go check out the Captain Howdy's channel. He does such an amazing job. As a matter of fact, he inspired me. I am not even kidding when I say this. He inspired me to become a YouTuber. No joke. The way he puts his videos together, the level-headedness, just an amazing guy. And it's always an honor to have the captain in here. Honestly, he is the captain. I know that you had to make it Captain Howdy because the captain from, was it True Crime Garage? But to me, you'll always be the captain to me. But anyway, so I know I touched on this Monday, but I will move on. But I just wanted to touch on this because this leads into my next thing. And like I said, I can't take credit for this. This was posted by a Reddit user. I did get credit to them Monday. But I thought this was very fascinating because I have tried to recreate this stinking thing so many times. I've used rope. I've used headphones. I've used the hoodie lace, like white lace. The hoodie white lace, it's too small. Rope, depending on the size, basic rope, it's too small. Scarf comes close, but it looks too big. Gator, it's so tough to recreate this. I always thought this was something sticking out, like, zip ties. It's not zip ties. They're too small. They wouldn't stick out like this, I promise. I really think, and I never even really thought about it just being a design on the hoodie underneath. And to me, in my opinion, this is just opinion, I think it's quite possible that's what this white thing is. And you even see, if you zoom in, you'll notice that it almost appears you can almost see where his hoodie lace comes down and actually blocks and blurs out part of the logo. If that is a logo, this is completely speculation right now. Now you may ask why you can't see the horn. One, it could be his collar is just right here, so we're not seeing this part. We're only kind of seeing this kind of half circle here. Or two, there are other Fox hoodies. There are a ton of designs. Even one where the Fox just doesn't have like the ear. I'm assuming that's kind of like the ears, obviously, that this is making right here. But they don't have the ears. It's just this part here. So, and here, this kind of what I was more talking about. Is this collar could be blocking that. Just a theory. But yeah, and for those that are saying you think I nailed it, like I said, I cannot take credit for that. That is by a Reddit user. If I get a second, let's just give them the credit. Of course, that didn't pop up, right? Neurofly. They're the one that came up with this 4 months ago. And I thought it was brilliant. I've seen everything, or close to everything, when it comes to what people have thought he was wearing, and that is one thing I've never seen, and I have tried to recreate, and to me that's a good a good possibility. Okay, moving on to the next thing. And like I said, the main focus is going to be the witness because, like I said, in my opinion, when it comes to trial, it's going to be Sarah versus Betsy when it comes to the prosecution and defense. Obviously, Sarah and Betsy, they're just witnesses. They have nothing to do, obviously, when they made their statements, they didn't know about Richard Allen or anything. Obviously, they have no, I'm trying to say is that, they're they have no skin in the game when it comes to, who they think is guilty or not. Obviously, it's just going off their statements. And I feel that the prosecution and defense obviously are going to go at it. And the defense is obviously Betsy is going to be one of their biggest witnesses because she's kind of seeing something different. So, what are the colors that you see in Richard Allen's hair? And because like I said, I went through all the witness statements again just to see if there's stuff that I had missed because there's just so much that's came out. And just curious in chat, what do you guys see some colors? If you guys can, just point out some colors that you see in his hair. And if you want, I'll probably just zoom in on these two here. But if you were to pick one or two colors, let me know what you see in chat. Yes, I wish. Alan's only had that one video where they're on the Skytram. That's what I want to call it, Skytram, and they're obviously it's a short video, and he's with his wife, and gray and brown. Okay, gray and brown. Okay, gray and brown, sandy ground. Okay, all right. Gray and brown. All right. So this is from the girls. This is from one of the witnesses, Anna. Now this doesn't mean a lot, but this is interesting. Anna described the man wearing light blue jeans and a really light blue jacket. He has hair. Was gray, maybe a little brown. His hair was gray, maybe a little brown. Bray, ground, bray, ground, bray, ground, bray, ground. Sandy, brown, gray. Just point out something. That was something I kind of overlooked. Anyway, moving on. Moving on to Betsy, the big witness, one of the bigger witnesses here. So she claims, obviously, she puts a lot of things in together. She arrived, obviously, and she can corroborate because when she was coming on the Hoosier Highway, I believe. She's the one that witnesses the 4 juveniles as they're leaving. She comes around on the 300 Country Road, and then she arrives, then she walks to the bridge. At the bridge is where she sees a man standing on what she claims is platform 1. So this is her statement. Blair said that the male was standing on platform 1, approximately 50 feet away from her. So here is 2 different views. Now, obviously, this is when it's changed and has been rebuilt. But this would have been where she's approximately standing. Platform 1 is right here. Not where the gate is at, but right here, approximately. Looking from the other way, this picture is taken from platform 1 towards the beginning. Now, it's quite a bit of ways. Now, obviously, taking a picture and then being there in person, I think obviously you're going to get a little bit better perspective in person than on camera. But just to kind of give you an idea, here's a person actually I don't even think they're standing at the beginning of the bridge or like before the bridge. They're kind of on the bridge, I think. I could be wrong, but if not, they're taking a picture of a man who is just
a little bit ahead of platform 1. And so, I mean, can you really tell? Now, of course, he's holding the child. So obviously there's not many pictures out there from this distance of a person standing at platform 1. There's like a couple. So it was really hard to find a good, example. But if he wasn't holding the baby, obviously him holding the baby would make him, I mean, he could be, that could be his little brother. But can you guys tell how old this guy is? Can you tell really anything about this guy's facial? It looks like he might have like a red beard, but I can't tell his eye color. I mean, I'm zooming in. Now, it's kind of poor camera quality, so maybe if this was a little bit better quality, we might be able to make up some better details. So like I said, this is not the best example, but this is just kind of showing that would she have the best, this guy is supposedly 50 feet away, maybe even a little bit more, maybe less, who knows. But is she giving like a face-to-face, look at the suspect? Now, Betsy, we learned, claims that she had seen a slender, youthful-looking man with boyish looks, a man to be in his 20s or early 30s. He seemed to have, I believe, in one of them, she says brown poofy hair, I think, or I even think she even mentions curly. And she also says he had no facial hair that she can remember. So, just to kind of give you a perspective, would she have the best perspective to give so much detail? And now I'm going to move on to sorry, I got to drink some coffee because I'm losing my voice here. Now, let me get to some chat here and then I'll move on to the next thing. Alan says, I don't think he's wearing a driver's cap like in the sketch. I think it's his hoodie and a regular cap. Yeah, I've heard everything, and I personally think driver's cap or baseball cap. But yeah, it's just tough because, I mean, we're looking at a condensed photo. Who knows how many, the pixels all start kind of blending together. So, yeah, it's tough. Let me grab these. Tom Ann, prosecutor will ask, is this the man you've seen? Oh, yeah, definitely. For sure. That will be huge. Because you would have 4 juvenile witnesses, Sarah, Betsy, so that's 6. Yeah, 6 witnesses, right? That'd be 6 witnesses, I think. Yeah, 6 witnesses. And then you have T-Crow. Thank you so much for the $1.99 and the support. I also said, where's your other thing here? I'm from the town north of Delphi. Thank you for your continuous work on this case. That's awesome. Thank you so much. It means the world, especially the locals out there. Truly, it means the world to me because there's so many that cover this case, such as the captain who do such an amazing job. So it's truly an honor. And Anna says, with that hat on, you see more gray first. Yeah, it's tough. And I saw one more I wanted to point out. Anyway, I'll move on and I'll come back to it. So anyway, so here's just kind of a look at all the witness and their statements, the ones that add up, and then the anomalies. So if we look, we have pretty much with the descriptions of what the suspect was wearing, they all pretty much line up, except Raleigh, she was kind of slightly off, but you could almost put her in there because blue and black, like you said, it's depending on the perspective, the lighting, could be easily mistaken. Blue and black's not a, if it was blue and pink, then we could say it's more of an anomaly. But then, we have the anomaly with the female, obviously Betsy, with doesn't line up with the rest of the stuff, even though it lines up with the notes with the CPS and the oddly parked position of the car. The comment is definitely the anomaly. And obviously, witnesses / us as humans, we are not perfect and get certain details either mixed up or just flat wrong. Even though Betsy is confident in what she saw, it's certainly plausible she made a mistake. And to dive deeper on that, and I don't even think she made a mistake, and this is just theory, but we'll get into it here. Could it be that Betsy frequents that bridge and trail a lot, and perhaps a time or day before the homicide, she saw a Mercury Comet parked at the CPS building and also witnessed a youthful man standing on the bridge. But it wasn't that day. It's definitely possible. And to double down on that, I was trying to look. Obviously, I if I did find anything, I wouldn't share any, any specific details. Obviously her full name's out there, but if I knew her phone number, or, address, obviously give that stuff away. But this is something that I'm sure that they would do, and they would do a background and kind of know what are her habits, because I wonder if Betsy, just kind of going off her name and some of the research I did, and let me know in chat, because we definitely have some locals in the chat. And please don't give me personal information if you do know who this person is, but I'm just curious to know her age. Now, for anybody that's thinking that I'm not, if she is an older woman, I'm not saying because she's older that she has a bad memory. I'm only mentioning if it's possible that if she is around 60 or something like that, 60 years young, and maybe near the age of retirement, is it possible that she goes for walks on this trail? This is a place she has free time, and she goes to this trail often. And so that means she's been going to this trail many times and has many memories that she has of going to this trail, seeing different things. And could it be that if that's true, that she did see a vehicle that reminded her of her dad's, because it was a Mercury Comet that her dad used to own, so that stuck out to her in her memory, because obviously that was what her dad drove. And also, at the same time, she did see a man on platform 1. Maybe, she likes to take the walks on the trail, and she goes to the bridge and then turns around and then leaves, and that's kind of, something she does maybe on the weekends or a couple of times, who knows. But is it possible that that's something that she does? She frequents that area. Obviously it was a Monday, she wasn't working. Now, obviously she could still be working, but maybe she just has Mondays off. But I just noticed Betsy's a name that was most popularly used in 1980, mainly used in 1940s to the 60s. When I looked up Debbie, or her full name, all the Betsy BBs that I could find that were in Delphi or near Delphi, the average age was 60. So is it possible that she is around that age and she frequents that area often? And to double down on whether she is somebody that goes to this place often, as Blair was leaving, so here's her own statement. Sorry, let me take a sip here. In her own statement, Blair was leaving, she noted a vehicle was parked in an odd manner.
at the old Child Protective Service CPS building. She said that it was not odd for vehicles to be parked there, but it was odd that it was backed in near that building. She said that vehicles often used the south edge of the parking lot so they were closer to the trail to get to the Freedom Bridge. So clearly, with that statement alone, it sounds like, yes, she does know this area where people normally park. And in my opinion, I would assume she does go to this trail, this Monon Bridge, quite often. So if that's the case, could it be that her memory of the particular day just kind of got mixed with another day prior? And especially if she saw this Ford or Mercury Comet, maybe days prior, that really stuck out to her. And that just happened to be the same day that she also saw a guy standing at platform 1. And that was just a different day in general. But yet, she is confident, so confident, in fact, that it seems like she kind of, in a way, persuaded them to get this sketch out. And I'll show you that for if you don't know what I'm talking about. I'll show you this here in just a minute. But she was clearly confident because she said it was a 10 of 10 description when it comes to describing this man. She even has a sketch of this vehicle as well. But I think it's quite possible that it just happened on a day prior. Which would mean, if that was true, this sketch is irrelevant. Just a theory. Let me know what you think. You got arguments to it? Let me know. I'm going to look at them now. I know I've been rambling on. I'm going to get to chat here. Let me just, one thing as I get to chat, let me just show you guys. I did show this, excuse me, on Monday. But here, so what this is a list of documentation that the defense used to build the Frank's motion. It's got some very interesting things. It mentions DNA documentation, which for us Delphi veterans, we've kind of known that there was some kind of DNA. I'm thinking hair fibers. They did mention in the Ron Logan search warrant hair fibers and possible animal fibers, which could be clothing fibers and or hair fibers, which could even be animal. So if we look, it looks like they did another interview with Betsy Blair. I'm assuming a second interview with Betsy on 3/7/2019. Coincidentally, that is just a month prior before the famous Doug Carter press conference, where they would reveal sketch number 2, Betsy Blair's sketch, and kind of flip the case upside down when it comes to the sketches. So, I thought that's quite interesting. And yeah, you can see Betsy Blair, sketch of vehicle. But yeah, she's very confident, and I think she probably did see those things, but it's possible she saw him on a day prior. Debbie Owenlander, thank you so much for the $5 super sticker. You are so awesome. Appreciate the support. Alan Hinkle gifted 5 Mob Crew memberships. That is so awesome. Please, if you got gifted memberships, please show Alan some love in the chat. That is so awesome. Alan says, I know a YouTuber who doesn't do near the work you do. He gets around 500 in super chats per live. I know. It's egregious. But I am just grateful for any support you guys give me. This is my only income, so any help is appreciated. But I don't like to beg.
I just hope that my work, you know, pays for itself. But I'm not perfect. I get many things wrong. And sorry, I'm just reading chat here. If I remember correctly, there is more on the video of BG on that phone that should come out trial. Yeah, if you want, we could talk about that. Some people don't know or may have forgotten what was said in that video. If you want, I could share that with you. I don't know everything that was on that, but and it says, I'm 67. I couldn't tell you what I did yesterday. Laugh out loud. Yeah. So like I said, what I was trying to spit out earlier about her age is just because if she is, 60 or whatever, I'm not going that saying that she has a terrible memory. Actually, I'm saying the opposite. I just think she probably goes there a lot. Every time a commercial comes on, it will aims the live back to the beginning. It shouldn't. No, it should just come back to the live. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's on YouTube. If I made those $1,000 that person does in each live he does, then I wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't have to worry about monetizing my channel. But this is my job, and of course, it is the off season. I can't really go looking out, searching for people in the wintertime, but I promise you, of course, we got Mitch. We got much more to do next year, and we've already started getting plans together for our searches for next year. So any support definitely goes to those cases. And yeah, if you do send like a PayPal or Venmo, just if you can put it in the chat so I can shut you out. Sometimes I don't get those messages until it's kind of too late. So, but yeah, if you guys are wondering what's on those 43 seconds, let me pull up. Give me a second here, guys. 7:05. All right. So, here's the backstory on this. So, a certain YouTuber, which I'm sure some of you guys probably know who I'm talking about, apparently interviewed the family member or family members of the victims when this first happened. Obviously, when this tragedy first happened, when they came across the video, they brought in family members and I think some close friends to show this tape to see if they could recognize the voice in it, or did the girl say something that could help the case. Anyway, this particular YouTuber did get kind of an interview. Now, this interview wasn't done on tape or anything or recorded. This was done off camera, but he took notes. He actually took a transcript of what was told to him. So there's quite a bit in that transcript. A lot of it's not actually the transcript of the video itself, but some is. But in a nutshell, apparently, throughout the years, this is what was said in the 43 seconds for those that may not know. And oh my gosh, Tom, buddy, dude, let's match him, laugh out loud, $100. Thank you so much, Tom. That is so awesome. I really appreciate it. Tom has been an amazing supporter. I understand not everybody is financially in the best position. I mean, I came from, just to give you an idea, when Captain's still in here. Just to give you an idea, Captain, when I was watching you, when I first watched you, I was actually homeless. So just to give you a perspective, when I was watching the Captain covering the Delphi case, I was actually homeless in a car, sleeping in my car. I would move to Ohio and then kind of slowly get back on my feet. And then it was the Gab Petito case happened, and it really stuck out to me because the video that they showed of Gab Petito, obviously the famous video of her in the car, with them being pulled over, that happened here in Utah. And I know a lot about Utah. I was born and raised here. And so that hit me really hard. And I'm like, you know what? I've always wanted to become a YouTuber, and all I could do is all I had was my phone when I was homeless. So I had my phone, and all I could watch was YouTube. And so that's where I came across the Captain and other content creators, but Captain was a big one. And obviously got me into Delphi. And so, yeah, it's come a long way. And so thank you so much, Tom. That means the world to me. And yes, I tried as much as I can to... I spend hours and hours before the shows putting stuff together. And so thank you so much, Tom. You get emotional. Thank you so much, buddy. So, and just thank you, everybody that's here still with us. 300 people. You guys are so awesome. So we're finishing up here, but I'll share with you guys the 43 seconds and a theory I have on this as well. So in this video, apparently, so obviously Libby pulls out her phone because obviously this guy's coming up, and she had the common sense to pull out her phone because she had something, an instinct, felt wrong about this guy. So apparently the recording starts off with the girls, I believe, and I could be out of order on some things because I don't have the thing in front of me, but I believe it starts out with the girls kind of just chatting girl stuff, and that's kind of the beginning. And then it's also mentioned later on that the comment, "Is that the creepy guy again?" That's been brought up, but I don't think that was brought up by this YouTuber, but that has been brought up many times, that comment is in the video as well. So I would assume that would be towards the beginning. But then it goes to Abby because Abby's slowly walking, because it looks like Libby's at the end of the bridge. Now Abby's close to Libby, but she's still kind of on the bridge, and she's kind of finishing her walk. So she's walking towards Libby, and she says, "Is he still behind me?" And I'm not sure if Libby responds. I can't remember. But then Abby, I guess, turns around and then is quoted saying, "Is that a gun?" Oh my gosh, he's got a gun, to those effects. And then right after that, the guy says, "Hey guys," from what I understand. Some say it's just hey, but I think he says, "Hey guys." And shortly after that is when he pulls out the gun and cocks it. And then there could be some more words that are exchanged that we may not know. And then the last words that we do know before the video ends is "down the hill." So that's why "guys" and "down the hill" don't sound right. It's because they're clipped, there's stuff in between that. And so they're kind of clipped together because they wanted to take, obviously, the most important thing is they wanted to take the sound of the gun being cycled out of the video, because I think at that time they did not want the public to know that the suspect had a gun. And now that makes even more sense because the guy, since they found a bullet, obviously their big thing is they needed to get a suspect with the gun that matched the bullet. So that makes a lot of sense. And then I believe the reason why this clip is only, and shoot, I should have been playing this, and why I believe this is only 48 frames is I believe he is literally about to brandish the gun. Because you would think we would get a little bit more until he's out of focus. Because clearly she's going to put the phone in her pocket. But so you would think maybe there's probably like 2 to 3 seconds of him actually on screen. But I think after he takes his first couple of steps, he's going to brandish that weapon. And they didn't want that in the public. But that's just theory. I don't know. But but anyway, that's and then that was corroborated, which is that came out that's been out there for years. I mean, that was been out there since the first year, maybe I think something like that, first second year, where he got that details, and then slowly through time, those details have been corroborated. Either through the probable cause or whatnot. So, and if you know the content creator I'm talking about, he does base his channel on facts. I do give him respect for that. That he tries to stay with the facts. But yeah. So, ooh, God, that's such a great comment. Yeah, there could be a jacket reversible. That's definitely possible, Will. You would definitely think you'd want to try to change his appearance somehow. And yeah, if he did have a reverse 2-color jacket, yeah, it's definitely possible for sure. Yeah, he's not limping. Yeah, we've gone over this a bunch of times. It's just the way that they edit it, the loop. He starts with his right foot, and the video ends with one step taken by each, but ends with his right foot starting to go right here, and then it loops back around to his right foot again, and the way they do it makes it look like he's got a limp, but yeah, he doesn't have a limp. So anyway, Ben Pat, the bolt was found weeks later. They didn't know the guy had a gun crime yet. They didn't know they had a gun crime yet. I couldn't corroborate that, Ben. I don't know. I wasn't there. Obviously, I wouldn't. Yeah, if it was buried under leaves and stuff, yeah, maybe they didn't find it the first couple days. And we're more focused on just, slowly absorbing the crime scene and documenting the crime scene. So yeah, that's possible. But what I'm saying is, for the public, they didn't want the gun to be known. Oh, PayPal. Okay, thank you so much. There's many ways to donate, Margaret. You can donate if you're on PayPal. If anybody can give Margaret, can put up if you're on a Apple device, you have to kind of go through a couple of things. You don't have to have PayPal if you got Venmo, or you can donate through just YouTube itself. But it's not expected. Joy Jones, you're an inspiration. I appreciate that. I'm just a human being just like you guys. I'm just lucky enough that you guys listen to me for a couple hours. But I do appreciate the love and support. It means the world. Give me 1 second, guys. Let me just see if I can find that real quick. If there's anything you guys want me to touch on before I leave. Oh. Like I said, I'm not an expert. I am just passionate about this case. Gary, thank you so much for the from Baby Kisses. Baby Kisses, thank you so much for the PayPal, and thank you so much, Peyton. And I love that idea. At 11:23, I will remember that, and I will post that as well. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything else. So let's see, what time is it? We started at 5:30, so it's about 7:30. Yeah, the recording indicated the girl saw a gun. Yeah. Oh, there you go, Margaret. Oh, in Europe. That's awesome. Margaret and Ray, thank you so much. You are very sweet. Thank you so much. And Tom Hannigan, I hope he gets a fair trial. Yeah, I do too. But I hope he is the right guy. I can't imagine what it'd be like to be an innocent person, go through all this. That happens every day, and it's sickening to think about. Now, I agree. When you look at Richard Allen versus Brian Koberger, it is, on a certain level, it is very disturbing to see. You see one guy come into court smiling, and he's happy, and I'm sure that's all for show because he knows the cameras are rolling when it comes to the Brian Koberger case. But yes, it is a little disheartening to see that for somebody that is right now presumed innocent, that they are treated a different way. That is definitely a little disturbing. I do agree with that for sure. But one thing to remember is Richard Allen, in my opinion, remember that Delphi is a small community. Cass County and Carroll County have like tiny jails. And according to them, they're worried that they can't protect him. Now, if that is true, then I can kind of understand why they got to keep him in prison. But still, and then also, you also got to think, Richard Allen, you got a very high profile case. And compared to Brian Koberger, his crimes are, on a scale that's a little bit more than Brian Koberger, Richard Allen, because these are teenage girls. And, who's to say some wacko knows that he's in Cass County Jail or Carroll County Jail and wants to take him out so he can get 15 minutes of fame. So you got to look at it that way too. But yeah, at the same time, it is tough to see those two complete opposites. So that it is tough. And yeah, we don't want to, because that's not going to help anybody. So yeah, it is tough circumstances when it comes to that. But I said that when it comes to the court system and stuff, that's not my area of expertise. But yeah, let's just hope everybody gets the fair trial they deserve. And I'm just bummed that, we would literally be, holy cow, we would be like 1 month away from the trial. That's so crazy to think about. But it's not going to happen. Anyway, one last thing. If you hadn't heard, I don't think this is any surprise. And I was going to check Twitter, see if we can see anything on Judge Goal. So the Westfield man, Mitch Thomas, the one that broke in, or I don't know if it was broke in or whatever, however you want to call it. Used to work for Andrew Baldwin, the one that took pictures and then scattered them out to different people. He has been arrested. What is it? Is it a misdemeanor? Heard it wasn't a super big charge. Does it say right here? Does anyone know what the charge? It's not a. I don't think it's a felony charge, is it? I thought I read somewhere where it wasn't. He's still. Which, yeah, I think, for someone to do that, it's stupid. But, yeah, let's check Twitter. Let's just see if there's anything with Judge Goal. Is anybody know in chat? Has there been anything noted with Judge? Breaking, a man's behind bars. Obviously, Mitch Westerman. Hey, Mob Crew. That's a handsome looking guy there. Let's see. Let's Judge Goal. I'm checking chat. Class A misdemeanor. That's what I thought. Judge Goal hospitalized. Delphi updates. No, just there you go. Okay, here we go. Special judge in Delphi case recovering from urgent medical condition. Let's see. This was posted today, actually. Earlier this morning. According to the affiliate, Francis Goal, Judge Goal, was treated earlier this month. She reportedly spent several days in the hospital for an inpatient treatment before she was released. So, sounds like she's... Oh, and here's an update. Here it is. Wow, there's an update. Statement regarding her health. After feeling under the weather for several days, Judge Gold consulted with her physician on November 2nd. Wow, so that was like 20 days ago. Her doctor concluded that she required treatment for an urgent medical condition. Gold was admitted to the Fort Wayne Hospital for an inpatient treatment for several days. Since then, she has been working from home in coordination with the Allen Superior Court colleagues. Her fellow criminal judges are handling Gold's court calendar temporarily until she returns to office, which she expects soon. So it sounds like she's recovering, she's home, had some maybe inpatient treatment. So that doesn't even sound like an operation. So who knows? Maybe, I mean, this is the time of year where everybody gets sick, like COVID type. So, oh yeah, CD says it. Yeah, COVID, kidney stone. Yeah, in my opinion, it's probably some kind of like flu thing. Would make the most sense to me. So, Marie says she has black robe disease. Oh no. Oh no, here comes the jokes. Someone said gallbladder. Oh no. Obviously, we don't want to wish any ill will towards anybody. I'm glad she's doing better. Lisa says, also, once they arrest someone, they're on the clock. Accused is to get a speedy trial. They want to have a solid, hard case with evidence before they make an arrest. Yeah. I'm just seeing. Yeah, and I see both sides, Boogie. Can't believe people are concerned for Arya. That amazes me. What about Libby and Abby? Right. At the end of the day, it is about Libby and Abby and the family and the victims. You're right. It is. It is. But for them to get full justice, we want Alan to get a fair trial. That's, I think most people, that's their concern.
where those two lead up. But yeah, if he's convicted of what he's done, if he's convicted of what he's suspected of what he's done, are we really going to care at the end of the day what happened to him prior? So, anyway, so we're going to go ahead and finish here. This case is higher profile than Murdoch and BK, in my honest opinion. Yeah, this case is deep. This case is very, yeah. I would, yeah, Murdoch. Yeah, it was weird. Like Murdoch, because when I pulled my audience, people, it was so funny. A lot of people were not interested in the Alex Murdoch case. It was before the trial started. So I was like, oh man, should I really even talk about Alex Murdoch? And then once the trial started, holy moly, everybody started jumping on board because it's just a fascinating, just rabbit hole of holy shnikes when it comes to the Murdochs. So yeah, but yeah, I would say Delphi is huge. Wild case to say the least. Totally agree. Thank you so much, Tom. Sarah says, cover your eyes, Chris. Those sus girl pics. Uh-oh, where are those sus? Oh no. Oh, you're talking about these. Oh yeah. Can I just say one more thing? Do you guys remember back in the day, dial-up internet, and then we started getting those stupid pop-up ads? Oh my gosh, and how outrageous those got at one point. Just pop up. Then finally we started getting like the pop-up blocker, and then finally they stopped doing pop-ups. And now it's like they're back, you know? It's like the pop-up era is back again. It drives me nuts. Oh, it drives me nuts. Anyway. Anyway, I just want to say thank you to everyone being real respectful in chat, because I know there's people in here that may think Richard Allen is innocent, and everybody's entitled to their opinions. Okay, I did get that one. Okay, I'm just making sure I got everybody's donations and stuff. But yes, prayers. And once again, shout out to my wonderful mods, Dee, Karen, Copper Horse, Jocelyn, and I always forget like a name when I call them out, but they do such a major job. And Jennifer should be out of surgery now, but she had surgery today, and that's terrible. Hope she has a speedy recovery, and she'll get back with us soon. And so happy Thanksgiving for those that celebrate it. I am probably going to go live tomorrow because I came from a small family. I just have you guys. You're my family. So we'll probably go live probably in the later afternoon when most people have done their turkey dinner. And yeah, we'll see what we touch on, but we'll definitely going to try to go live. So Tom Ann, she exactly correct. Not sure, probably. Oh yeah, I know what you're referring to. Amen, buddy. With that, we're gonna go ahead and bounce out. It's gallbladder, not gallbladder. Yeah, that's true. It's an interesting joke. All right, guys. Happy Thanksgiving for those that celebrate it. We will hopefully probably see you tomorrow. Be a later show if I do get time to do it. And wish you all the best. And go ahead and get an outro here. Green Street, Chris, I really like you. Enjoy watching you. Thank you so much. It means the world. For Jennifer, well, surgery the day before Thanksgiving. I know, that sucks. My first Thanksgiving without my family, so I'll check in tomorrow. I'm sorry to hear that, Maria. I can relate. Yeah, a lot of people in my family have passed or moved on, so I'm kind of in that position as well.
But you guys are amazing. So, all right, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Much love.